hear your guys' honest opinion about
Oof.
this. I know I talked about that, hey, this was a strength issue. And then we had Forkner actually come out and say that his left arm has been injured tremendously. He's got some nerve damage there. So it just reinforced what I had to say. And also with some of the backstory with the medics actually were advising Forkner to get on the backboard. And he said, no, he wanted to stand up and get off the track himself. Right. What are your guys' opinion in this matter? And a lot of people are yelling about the concrete barrier here with the plyboard. So
Yeah,
what do you think, Aaron?
like when it comes to like in regards to I mean, accidents happen whether you got a weak arm or not, right? Like I know I've had some of the most devastating crashes growing up, and hearing with Forkner, like sounds like he even did a little bit of damage to his lungs, punctured lungs as well, and I've experienced that. It's not a good time, but when he like when he's down and out and the medics come to see it, and I'd love to get your like professional opinion on this too, coach, but you know, when he's down and out and he has a hard hit like that, like his head, his back, like he like pretzeled himself when he landed to the concrete, and it's concrete, not dirt, right? And you know, I understand like the medics advising like, hey, we should probably backboard you and carry you off, and then taking it from the patient, if you will, from Austin, of being like, no, I want to walk it off. Like, is there a place or like a liability in place where the medics need to like tell him like, hey, maybe you're not thinking straight right now, hey, maybe we should backboard you? Like, I know all in looking at it now, like he's obviously is not, he's okay, you know what I mean? Like he didn't have any sort of spinal cord damage, but like, I mean, what if, like, what does that look like from a professional standpoint, like a medical standpoint, you know what I mean?
No, 100%. And the thing that I have to, and maybe the chat room can help, or Johnny, Aaron, I don't know if you remember when Cooper Webb hit that camelback and he missed that last and it huckabucked him and he landed flat on his back on the concrete. Did they take him off on a stretcher? Or if I'm not mistaken, and let me rephrase that. I know they took him off on a stretcher. I know he did not walk away from that. Can somebody look it up real quick? What were the extent of his injuries when he landed flat on his back? Because I do have to agree with you, Aaron. When you free fall out of the sky like that and you watch his head bounce off the concrete, I think it goes without saying you rung your bell, right? There's no way you're mentally coherent to what's actually going on. The adrenaline dump that's going on.
Yeah.
You've seen that where people have broken a limb, and because of the adrenaline, they don't even feel it, right? They just keep going.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you would think, and of course, I don't want to sound
I
like a
believe it
medical.
was just a concussion.
Was it a concussion? But didn't they take him off on a flat board?
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I just remember how gnarly that was because it was like literally. Can you imagine you're just hauling ass and all of a sudden your bike disappears and you're literally free falling, looking up at the sky and knowing that eventually you're going to hit the concrete because you can already see the angle of where you're going, and just anticipating that hit, and then your head bouncing off the concrete, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I would think at some level, like I said, I don't want to be an armchair medical quarterback,
Of
but
course, yeah.
you would just think there would be protocol that says, look, we don't have a way out here to know exactly what the extent of the damages are internally. So yeah, you're going on the board. We don't give a flying flip what you had to say. Yeah, right here. So he nose picks it and then just boom, straight on his back.
Yeah.
Now it looks like I don't know if you can let that play long enough, Johnny, whether or not he got carted off on a board or not. But so here you are, you're like, oh shit, boom, and he right on that lower back. Now it's interesting, Johnny, when you show it that way, it doesn't even look like he hit his head when they show it from the side. Looks like he
didn't. This one was by far not near as bad as Forkner's.
Yeah.
Forkner's was, even though this is incredibly bad.
This is horrible. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine right here when he goes off, a nose picks it and he's airborne. You just know it's a matter of time, right? And then thank goodness the bike didn't hit him. That's that damn bike. What it is about? We go down and that thing falls. That's like a magnet, you know. But this right here, I mean, as soon as he clips it and just literally starts sky surfing here, and when they show it from the other direction, yeah, I don't even understand. I don't care what you have to say or think. For us to serve you, kaboom.
Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah, like
And
even from like a personal experience from myself, like I've had some nasty crashes growing up, and
yeah,
I did a herniated disc and was at risk to doing some severing of spinal cord, like spinal cord injuries. And when I crashed, I went down and it was a concussion. I don't remember, right? But I was having a full conversation with the medics and with my dad that was there.
yeah, yeah.
And he's like, how are you feeling? And I'm answering the questions. I don't remember it. I'm just hearing it from, from recall. But and he's like, I'm like, where are we? And he's like, oh, we're in the beaches in Florida. No, we were on a sand track in Quesnel, British Columbia, Canada, right? And I'm
Mm,
agreeing with him. And if I was to answer all those questions, and if he wasn't there to know, if I'm fully coherent or not, being my father, being somebody close,
yeah,
there's a good chance they would have let me just stand up and walk away. And
yeah.
if that would have
Well,
happened, there's a good chance that I would, you know, not be in the
not
best
be here.
condition.
Yeah.
My
And
point is, though, that was the medical advice, was
Right.
the backboard, right? And so, like, who's responsible at that point
the
Hmm.
medical
to
team,
make that happen?
100%,
But
100%. The athlete has given up his right. When you hit the ground, you're now in
Yeah.
the hands of the medical team. End of conversation.
But I
Yeah.
mean, we
I
live in a free
agree.
country, coach, to where, like, if you don't want to have medical advice, you're not forced to have a surgery. You're not forced to
I
do
want to
anything.
see I want to see somebody sue the medical team for making you go off on a backboard.
To
Afterwards, we
protect you.
find out that you're not paralyzed.
Hmm.
I want you to sue me because I want to show the video that you just showed as you free fell out of the sky, landed. Show the video again, Johnny. Watch how limp, how quickly. You can tell he's
Yeah,
knocked out. His right arm is completely limp when he hits the ground and rolls. So
Yeah.
if you want to sue me as a medical provider that I mandated that you got on the board, go ahead and sue me. I'll win all damn day.
coach,
Yeah.
I'm on the same side as you, right? Like, I
Sure,
just had
sure.
my weekly moto news channel. I literally had an unpopular opinion there saying that if you were wanting to prevent this from happening again, you find the rider
Mhm.
for refusing
Mhm.
what the expertise is of the medical staff. Like, if I want advice on how to jump that jump, I'm not going to take the medical advice from the medical staff. I'm going to take the
Sure.
advice from Forkner and Sexton and them, the guys that know how to do
Yeah.
it. In the same turn, when it comes to preventing injuries and that sort of thing and getting me safely to the hospital, I'm going to take the advice of the medical staff, right?
Absolutely.
So, in my opinion, it is up to the AMA to enforce, hey, you did not listen to what was said, therefore you are fined. Find the team, find something, written warning, something, so that you're making a precedent of, this is a professional sport. This is how we elevate stuff. You want to ride this? These are the terms and conditions. Because, yes, I do know we live in a free country. However, it's somewhat of a dictatorship once you decide to enter one of these races. You're at mercy. They can disqualify you. They can do all sorts of unfair things to you just because it is their show. You are the
Well,
circus monkey to their show.
And I think
Unfortunately.
I
elaborate
th-
on what
yeah.
Aaron went through. He
Hmm.
knocked himself out, has conversing with the people, doesn't remember a damn thing. So let's go, unfortunately, Johnny, let's go the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Austin thinks he's there, he's coherent, they let him stand up, they walk off for whatever reason, right? We've got a drought. All of a sudden, 20 minutes later, he goes full blown, whatever damage,
Mhm.
internal bleeding, all kinds of stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bring up Brian Moreau, but same idea, right? They had him get in the back of a mule. And where's he paralyzed, Johnny? From the chest down, neck down? What's his level of paralysis?
It's bad. It's bad. Paul in the chat room says that he is a first responder, and he says
Okay.
that people
Thank you,
refuse
Paul.
medical
Awesome.
attention all the time, and there's literally nothing you can do, car
Mhm.
wrecks or whatnot. And I understand that, right? And that's exactly what happened here. The difference is that this is in an organized event,
Mhm.
right? It's not just out in the real world where you can be like, nope, I don't want to do this. There could be something in place that, like I said, fines the riders and the teams if they don't take, because like you said, coach, what being overly cautious, when is that ever a bad thing?
Well,
Yeah.
but what's a
Eh,
gentleman's name that's a first responder in the chat room?
Oh gosh, there's so much comments
So
going on. It's
the
it's
reason why I say that, Johnny, is it's exactly to your point. Austin Forkner, like if I get in a car accident and I refuse to get in the ambulance and go to the hospital, I have to sign a form before that man or woman lets me leave that scene of the accident Because what I'm doing at that point is taking full responsibility and superseding the advice of the medical. Austin wasn't like, all right, before you can stand up, you got to sign this piece of paper right here or sign this digital computer. Go ahead, Aaron.
And even there, like there's a good chance he's not coherent. Like I think he even said so when he did his Instagram live that he doesn't remember a lot of what took place.
Yeah.
So it's like, like to your point, Johnny, like I agree of having some way of like, because I mean you're in a professional environment and you have the best of the best with the medical, and it's the environment is different than relating it to something like an accident on the street, right? But if you were going to do something or enforce something from the AMA level of like putting a fine in place for something like that, I think the only way that it would make sense for me is if they're signing it prior to agreeing to it as they're coherent, right? In a right mind. Because doing something like that after an accident, like how he hit that concrete, and he even admitted to it, he doesn't remember a lot of what's going on. And then asking them at that point, like, hey, are you okay to stand up and walk out? Well, of course, what is the first thing that most people do just naturally, right? Yeah, I'm okay. Or like, I'm fine, right? And we all know what fine means. So it's, it's coming from that place of, how can we make sure that they're protected in the best way, but also like when accidents like this happen, it's always going to be better to be overcautious. And I mean, that's just my opinion, because many accidents that I had growing up, if it wasn't overcautious, I would not be here multiple times. So it's like, and all it takes is there's many people that I've even witnessed this at races where, we've had a kid be able to stand up and seem like everything's fine and he's coherent and, start walking off, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Disc slips, there it goes, a sever happens, or something takes place, or they're trying to walk off the track, they're not coherent, they seem like they are, and boom, they get hit by another rider. Like there's all these different scenarios when it comes to when you hit your head, you can't think straight, right?
Well, and I think going back to like what Johnny was saying, in this case, you're the monkey for the circus, right? So essentially you've walked into their environment. You have to conform to what they want you to do, whether we like it or not. And I like what you said, Aaron. Hey, if you get injured, you're signing this in a very straight state of mind that we will put you on a board until for further analysis. And if you refuse that, then you can't race.
Yes. If we can learn anything from this, because that's the point. There's one thing about talking about it and then pointing fingers. There's another thing about coming up with solutions. And really the solution here is that the gladiator involved in the accident is not going to make the best decisions. Okay.
Right.
So let's put it in place to help the medical professionals do their job to the best of their ability, because they're all there for the right reasons. They are trying to make sure that these guys do not get injured. However, they need potentially some other people forcing their expertise so that it's like the parent says, sit the F down.
Yep.
You sit the F down.
That's
okay.
right.
We need some backup for the medical staff so that they've got a little bit more leeway with, nope, this is what happens. You are not allowed to continue and whatnot. Right.